All right, we are getting started right here. Today is going to be a teaching session. I know you're here because you've seen maybe my flyer somewhere, or you've learned about Scrum Master and Product Owner, and then you want to learn more about it. And I bet you're in the right place. So we're going to get started right now. I want you to give me a few hours of your time, and I promise you're not going to regret it. The first thing we're going to do is, talk about who is a Scrum Master, who is a Product Owner. We'll go through all that details, and then I'm going to share with you about the next training that is coming. And if you stay until the end of this, I have some bonus packed for you. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Scrum Master, Product Owner Masterclass. You guys, I don't think you can chat, but you can put your questions in the Q&A tab. And after, the presentation or the training, I'm also going to open this platform up so you can ask me any questions you might have. This is one of the reasons you should stay until the end. So let's get right into it. Scrum Master and Product Owner Masterclass. Now, you're going to learn what are the important things you need to learn and know for you to land these roles. You're going to learn about the myths, what people believe, and the actual truth, the actual facts of how this domain is. So let's get right into it. The first thing I like to talk about is this quote by John Burrow that I love a lot. It says, "Leap and the net will appear." How many of us believe in that? Leap and the net will appear. Because sometimes if we don't take that leap of faith, the net might not appear. The net is somewhere. So I believe that one of the ways you're leaping is by being here this evening, this afternoon, this morning, depending on where you're joining from. You're ready to take that leap. I want you to tell yourself, I'm ready to take the leap. I am ready to take the leap. Again, what you will learn today, who and what is a Scrum Master or a Product Owner. 2, what are the transferable skills for these roles that you already possess? What are those transferable skills? And 3, what are the best certifications to start with? I see a lot of people make a lot of mistakes in choosing the right certification, especially when they're just starting out. And today I'm going to be teaching you or showing you the best certifications to start with if you are just getting into these roles. And the next thing is I'm going to talk about our upcoming training, give you more details about what that is, what it looks like, what you're going to be getting from the training. And the last thing is the Q&A session. I am going to answer all your questions today, regardless of how long it's going to take me. Just know that I'm ready to answer any questions you might have. All right. So let's talk about me. Who am I and why you should trust me? Why should you listen to me? Why should you actually trust anything that I say? Because one, I am born in a small town in Nigeria. For any of you who is from Nigeria, to a family of 6. And I'm an Agile practitioner with over 10 years of experience in training and supporting Agile transformation in organization. Right now, I have the role of an enterprise Agile coach. And I share this story about myself because I started just like you, right? I was not born with a silver spoon. I was not born in America. I did not grow up in America. I did not go to high school in America or even college in America, because sometimes these are some of the things that stops or delays a lot of people. Okay. But yeah, this is me. And throughout my career, I have worked in various agile roles. So I started as a Scrum Master. Remember, we're talking about why you should trust me. This is not just something I am training about. This is not some sort of me getting some certifications and now training people. No, this is something that I live and I breathe every day. So I started as a Scrum Master. I've had the opportunity to work in different organizations as a Scrum Master. And then I've had the privilege to also be a product owner because sometimes that's how it works. And then an agile coach right now. And I have led several successful agile projects and, with a lot of challenges. Not everything, came out without challenges, but that's me in a nutshell. So I have been doing this. I still do this. And this is why I do not just talk about theory. I do not just talk about what's in the book. What's in the books is great. But sometimes, or most of the times, for those of you who work in corporate world, you know that the things you have read aren't exactly the same as the reality when you eventually land that job. So this is me in a nutshell. I don't want to bore you with who I am. Um, One of the things I love that I breed is that I am passionate about teaching. I am passionate about helping others. And so this is not just about the money for me. I'm passionate about giving out information, helping you to access the right information that can set you up for success. Okay. So this is one thing I'm passionate about, not just working with organizations, but also working with individuals. So as I work with organizations, I've also worked with hundreds of individuals who had zero experience, zero knowledge about corporate world, and now they are doing well as a Scrum Master, product owner, business analyst, delivery managers. Because sometimes you will learn as we go that organization might switch the title of these roles, but they are basically the same thing. All right. Okay, let's get into the real deal. Now, 8 years ago, I had the opportunity to travel to the United States to relocate here. So for those of you who don't know, I currently live in the United States. And like I said, I wasn't born here. I did not go to school here. And so when I came, the first question on my mind and the most common questions people were asking me was, what will you do? And I was asking myself the same question. What am I going to do? Now I am in another country. I am well read, I'm educated, after you have your bachelor's degree, you have plans for your life and all of that. But now finding yourself in a whole different world where you don't understand the culture, you don't know how things are being done there, you're like stuck. And that was exactly the point I was when I came. And I found myself in the midst of circle of people that have been here 10 years before me. There were people who have been here 10 years before me, um, you know, 20 years before me. And the things they were doing, the things they were doing were the things they thought I should go ahead and do. But I was very curious, I was like, I went to school. I should be able to do more. So I started asking questions, but my curiosity was met with it's not possible. What you're looking for is not possible. You can't do corporate work. And that's where some of you are today. That's where some of you, I've seen a lot of people who told me it's not possible for them to work in corporate America just because their certifications or their degree is from Africa or another country outside United States. And for some reasons, we believe that, right? I believe that too, years ago. I believe that, and you can't blame me. I've actually been hearing this even before I relocated, right? So I've been hearing about it before I relocated. When I came and people told me, it wasn't a surprise. But thank God that I was too curious to actually settle for that. So the question of what will I do? How will I do it? That I would not continue to do menial jobs for the rest of my life, because there were two options, either to do menial jobs or to go back to school. And when you just come into this country, I don't know about you, but when you just come into this country, most of us don't really have, as much money, and we were not exposed to things we could do for us to, get accepted into the colleges. Also, even if you have access to those things, some are already at certain ages where all they need right now is to make money. All they need right now is to make money, is to be able to take care of themselves. Some people relocated with their families, with their children, and going back to school might not just be part of the plan. That was the state I was. And if that is you, I'm excited to tell you it's possible for you to not have to go back to school and still do a very, very good corporate job, professional job. And that's what we are learning about today in this training. So, what is Scrum? Let's start with that. What is Scrum? What is Scrum? Scrum is a framework in Agile that helps teams work together. It's more like a Ruby game, if you look at the screen. And um, it's it's got that name from Ruby because the team works together. They all work together. It's just like a game of football. If somebody scores on a goal while playing football or soccer, sorry, some people know it to be soccer. We call it football back in Nigeria. um if somebody hit a score, well, you can hail that person, but the score is going to be recorded equally for the team. So they're going to say this club has so number of goals, because the glory is not just to that one person. So that's exactly how Scrum came about, from a game where the team come together to play together, to work together, and then take whatever it is they have. If they have a fall, they take it together. And if they have success, they take it together. So as a team, they reflect on their wins and their losses to continuously improve. Every athlete, a group or team, they have a coach, right? They have a coach where they talk, they discuss, oh, that game we did yesterday, that game we played yesterday, how did we do? How could we do better? So that's exactly what Scrum is all about. Now we have to talk about who then is a Scrum Master. Like I said, just like on a game, you have a coach, right? The same way a Scrum Master is also the team coach in Agile or Scrum. And a Scrum Master wears many hats. For many people who don't know, as a Scrum Master, there are so many things you have to do. There are so many things you need to learn. But for the purpose of this class, many of these things are probably things you already have, right? So these are some of the skills or the things, responsibilities of a Scrum Master. One, fostering communication. A good Scrum Master ensures that there is good communication going on between the team, the stakeholders, and the Scrum Master. So you're helping to create that channel where everybody can have communication, where everybody feels safe to communicate, to speak their mind. And when there is true communication, I mean, there are less challenges because people can voice out however they are feeling. Also, a great Scrum Master protects the team. This is one of the things in real life. Let me tell you, in real life, what this means is sometimes you would be working in an environment where your team members would be pulled apart. You know, this stakeholder wants one of your team members. These other business units want one of your team members. They have stuff they are focusing on, but this external people, external interference. It's external because it is not within the team. It is from outside of the team, but might be within the organization. But they keep pulling your team members apart. And what happens if they keep doing that? It means they would not be focused on what they are meant to do. But most of the time, in reality, they can't say no because most of these people are bosses. So they are not able to say no to them. But as a Scrum Master, you have to find a way to protect your team. You have to act as that buffer where let me find another name for it, like an intermediary, right? So you're shielding them so they don't look at them as maybe they just don't want to work. You shield them, you protect them, but you still, try to find a solution to whatever the stakeholders needs. So that's part of your role as a Scrum Master. I'm just trying to give you like an imagination of what this role is about. We're gonna go to the product owner role too. Okay. Now, we talk about tool maintenance. This is sometimes just by the book, but the reality is that you can't find this in any certification you take. That's just the truth. Take it from me. But the reality is that some organizations today, when they hire you, they expect you to know about certain things. So sometimes, even if you're not a tool admin, you are supposed to know a little bit about the tools your teams are going to be using. They might be basic, it doesn't have to be to the level of an admin, but you would have some responsibilities to know about this. And we have reporting. So, as a Scrum Master, this is where you come in as an expert to let the team and the stakeholders understand the progress of the team, the challenges the team is going through, the KPIs, how things are working, how things are not working. Now, the reason I'm going through all of this is when many people hear the word Scrum Master or the role Scrum Master, they think about this number one on my right, which is meeting facilitation. They think a Scrum Master is just someone that facilitates meetings all the time. And I'm sharing all of this so you know it is not just about facilitation. Facilitation is like 10% or even 5% of what you have to do. Yes, you do that almost every day. You do it. But it's not the only thing that you do as a Scrum Master. Agile coaching, as a Scrum Master, you need to know your stuff enough for you to be able to teach others. You support the team, and most importantly, you are hired to help your team remove blockers and impediments. So you're expected to be able to spot things ahead of time, even things that your teams are not thinking about. You spot it so that you can ask the right questions and be able to help them remove those blockers before it becomes something big. All right. Now I can go on and on and on and on. But just like a game has a coach, in music, we also have conductors. We have conductors, and a Scrum Master is like an orchestra conductor that guides the group of individuals to create something that no one of them could create alone. The reason I love this analogy and definition is because as a team, we are able to create something substantial, but individually, we might not be able to. So a Scrum Master is that person who brings them together, making them understand the essence of actually working together, of knowing this and understanding this. So you can think of a Scrum Master as a conductor, as a master of ceremony. When there's a master of ceremony, they have the agenda, they have everything that's going to happen at that ceremony. It doesn't mean they're going to do it. They are there to make sure that everything goes on. They are there to make sure that the celebrant is happy at the end of the day, or whoever has invited them. That is their role. They have to ensure everybody is happy and everybody left that party happy. So now they have to try and meet with everybody on the agenda to make sure they come in at the right time, they go back at the right time, and all the good stuff. So you can think of it as so many things, but there's a whole lot of work that a Scrum Master does. But none of these involve coding, as we can see. So you can work with a group or a team that are doing coding. You don't have to know how to code, but you have to be curious enough to understand what they are working on, the tools they are using, and to have like basic understanding so that you guys can have basic communication. I call it basic communication. If they come to you and say, hey, as a Scrum Master, I'm facing these challenges and all of that, you should be able to understand. If you don't, you should be able to ask the right questions. So these are all, what a Scrum Master does. If you're interested in the slide, I can share with you after now. Let's go to who is a product owner. Sorry, my slide is jumping. Who is a product owner, or what is a product owner? Because people ask differently. I mean, whichever one you want to choose. The product owner is that person, the primary advocate of the customer and the strategy inside each Agile team. So the Scrum Master is on a team. The product owner is also part of the team. But most of the time, people learn to become just the Scrum Master. They don't learn to become a product owner. Whereas these are two separate careers that are interwoven. Right. So when you're learning about Scrum Master, why not learn about this product owner too, to increase your marketability? Now, you want to go out in the world, instead of you looking for a job as a product owner alone, you also look for a job as a Scrum Master, and vice versa. And this is one of the things that we're trying to do right now, because I have seen a lot of my students in the past who started as a Scrum Master and the organization want them to step in as a product owner. And some of them are just somehow scared. But the truth is, as a Scrum Master, you are a coach to a product owner. But the difference is, there's a difference between coaching something and actually knowing how to do something. I hope you know that. Sometimes you can teach people to do certain things and you yourself find it difficult to do, but you have mastered how they can do it because you are a great coach. That's possible. So this is why you're like having this option of 2-in-1. The product owner is the primary advocate. What does that mean? The product owner is your stakeholder. The regular stakeholder does not have time to stay with you in meetings every day, but the product owner needs to have that time so that the product owner can represent the voice of the customer. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. The PO aligns the team with the organization's strategic goals. So when we talk about strategic goals, that's like the bigger goal of the organization. So as a product owner, there are some skills you also need that would help you to be a great product owner. And there are skills that you can also have as a Scrum Master and skills that you need to learn now to have those two experiences. And like I said, this is just a webinar and a masterclass, and you guys are free to ask me any question, but I do not want this to be confusing for you. So here I have merged the skill sets required for both roles here. For Scrum Master, what are the skill sets? For product owner, what are the skill sets? Like I said, there are roles that are interwoven. One of it is that for you to be a great product owner, you must be you must have strong Scrum and Agile training, because Agile organizations hires product owners. Okay. There are other roles, product managers. I mean, if you go to Google or go on LinkedIn and you type in product managers, there are other roles. There are probably, some certifications, but specifically in the Agile space, in Scrum, actually, specifically, Scrum has that terminology, product owner, which is very similar to product manager. Now, for you to become one, you need to have strong Scrum and Agile training, because when you have the training, you will learn what are the responsibilities that are expected of you, what you need to learn and do. But here, I am going to tell you the skills you need, right? Forget certifications right now. You need to learn certain skills that are going to help you to be successful in these two roles. And one is strong Scrum and Agile training. Two is leadership and management skill. So for you to be a great Scrum Master and a great product owner, you must have leadership skill. You must have management skill. Like, you must be able to bring people together. You must be able to work with a lot of people. You must be able to lead a group of people. Whatever that means, you must have this. If you don't have leadership skill, you can learn it. But if you're someone who feel like, okay, maybe that's not for me, you actually have no business doing these two roles, because in these two roles, you would have to be a leader. Imagine as a Scrum Master, you have some Scrum Masters even have three teams. Some have multiple teams once they become like an RTE. How do you lead a team of 40, 100 people if you don't have leadership skill? It's just going to be, something else. All right. Number three is you have to be a great communicator. This is one of the things they required for before hiring anyone for these roles. And this is why I tell people, you have many of these skills. Many of you that are listening to me right now, you have many of these skills already. You know you're a great communicator. You're able to write well. You're able to communicate verbally with people. That's all that matters. And as Africans or immigrants, sometimes we're scared of our accent. Don't just let something that doesn't really matter, don't let it, affect you or stop you, right? I don't want to call out some tribe names, but I have worked with a lot of people that I find it very hard to understand when they're talking and they're speaking English. And then I have to like maybe ask and ask again. And I tell myself, these people did not let this stop them. So I'm just telling you, don't let this stop you. As long as you can communicate to people in English, right? Because most organizations are going to work in English. If you have other languages, in fact, there are more opportunities there, because I mean, recently I've been seeing so many roles on LinkedIn for Spanish speaking people and all of that. So if you speak those languages, that's okay. But the most common one is English. As long as you can have basic communication, then you're good. Number four, conflict resolution. Even if you don't have this, you can learn it. You can learn how to resolve conflict. But I'm just telling you now that this is going to happen. But many of us have been resolving conflict. If you're a parent, and you have kids, at least two kids, I bet you have been resolving conflicts from almost day one. If you're a sibling, between your brother, you resolve conflict between your brother, your siblings, your parents. It's just to be able to transfer these skills now into into corporate world. So there are probably certain things you need to learn to touch it up, right? To be able to do it better, but you probably have been doing it before. You also have to be a great decision maker. There are times we call something ask for forgiveness instead of asking for permission. You ask for forgiveness instead of permission, meaning there are certain times where you need to make certain decision and you do not have the luxury of waiting on people. And if you know and you're sure that is the right decision at that time, you should be able to go ahead and make it. Well, it's tough. in corporate world, in the office, because what if it doesn't turn out the way you expected it to turn out? So this requires you to be able to make decision and to be responsible for whatever decision you make. But at some point in time, you will need to be able to make some of those decisions. Also, you have to be able to train and coach and teach, because these are different things, right? Training is, like what I'm doing right now. I'm training you. After this training, I can do coaching, because coaching could be continuous. Coaching is helping you to implement the things that you have learned, right? And teaching is also trying to show you something. And so at different times, you might have to do all of this. I remember there was a job I had, and the team was just starting out, and they never had any experience with Agile. So that means I had to do Agile training for them, a whole PowerPoint presentation, like a week or 2 weeks training. And I also have to teach them how to use the tools, because they have not used the tools before. So they were going to use Jira. They've never used Jira before. I had to teach them how to do that. That's teaching. And as the team coach, I had to continuously coach them on the things that I've trained them about, because they won't get it immediately. That's just the truth. They won't get it immediately. There are times they are trying to do the same thing and they forget maybe something you said when you were doing the training. You are there to give that continuous support without making them feel bad. So coaching in itself is a whole profession. I hope you know that. But as a Scrum Master, mostly you have to be able to do this. As a product owner, sometimes you might not have to do a lot of training, a lot of teaching, but you probably have to do a lot of coaching. If someone else is coming on the team, someone else, you will do all of these things. Then flexibility and persistence. Let me tell you, if you're not flexible, if you're not persistent, um, you might find it difficult. Sometimes, people come to me and, they just had a bad day because there's this team member that is stubborn, and stuff like that. But this is also part of what you get when you work with other people that are doing the same thing. It's just good for you to know. I like to set expectations. I like to prepare people before we go ahead and do anything. I like them to know what they are getting into. You need to have great organizational skill. You need to have stakeholder management. How do you talk to stakeholders, the executives, the VPs, the directors? How do you manage their expectations when they expect the team to deliver in 2 weeks and you know that the team cannot deliver until like 4 weeks? How do you undo all of those things? So I wanted to start thinking, how many of these do you already have? How many of these are you already great at? I don't know if the chat is enabled. I'm not seeing it enabled here, but if it is, I want you to put it. How many of these do you already have? And how many of these do you think you need to work on? The good news is you can work on any of this. You can learn any of this. You can learn if you want to. When there is a will, there is always a way. So let's go to certifications. What are the certifications you need? There are so many organizations right now that are certifying people for Agile and Scrum. So many, so many. I do not want to bore you with the list, but these are some of the most popular ones. There are some that when you mention it, everybody knows about them. Anyone in this space knows about them. And that is the Scrum.org, the Scrum Alliance, and the SAFE, which is the Skilled Agile Framework. In the past, I'll tell people, do Scrum.org. In my other trainings, not today, I go deeper into the differences between the three. But right now, I'm just going to share that Scrum.org is just Scrum certification. And then Scrum Alliance also goes further into coaching certification. I think Scrum.org does a little bit of coaching too. But SAFe is one of the most, if not the most popular scaling framework globally today, not just in America, globally, because they have their conferences in Europe, in Australia, so everywhere. It's like the most recognized one. And what does this mean? If you want to work in a company of 200 people, 100 people, 50 people, they might just be doing Scrum. But when the company gets bigger to 500, 1,000, 10,000, where they can have 50, 100 teams, and sometimes multiple teams working on multiple products or the same products, they want to go the scaling way. That's like they have scaled the business. So they're going to move from the level of just Scrum to scaling the business. And now it's going to require them to hire only the people who understand how to scale. Only the people. So there are Scrum Masters, regular Scrum Masters, and there are SAFe Scrum Masters. So in the past, when you're starting out, normally I would advise maybe take scrum.org. But now I tell people, even if you're starting right now, the best advice, take it from me, from someone who have given a lot of scrum.org certifications to people, is to just go right ahead and do a SAFe. But not just the certification, a proper training. And we're going to get there. So this is SAFe paths for anyone that is trying to understand what the path looks like. So look at it. Now, we have the SAFe Agile, the SAFe Scrum. Let me just tell you, many of these certification bodies, apologies to them, but many sometimes are in for what they're going to get from you, which is okay. It's a business. And this is why there are so many trainers today. Before you can train anyone to get all of this certification, you need to take at least this certification called the SAFe Practitioner. So it's called the SAFe SPC. Once you have the SAFe SPC, you have the license to give people starting of this certification. So if you go online now you just say, oh, I want to do SAFe certification, you might be confused. So I want to streamline it down to you. Now, there are all of these certifications, but you don't need all of these to start. I actually made that mistake when I started out my journey. And, I took some certifications at the beginning. I think we're going to get there. And eventually I realized I shouldn't have taken some of those certifications. But right now, being there over 10 years doing this, I can tell you categorically that SAFe is great, but you have to find a good trainer to really not just train you about certification. So for the sake of this webinar, you're starting out, my recommendation is to do SAFe, SSM, and let me see if you can see this. This one, actually for this training, we've been talking about product owner and Scrum Master. So you get to have these two certifications. Ask me why. The product owner / product manager certification and the SAFe Scrum Master certification gives you two global certifications. So I'm not just teaching you, even though I'm going to teach you like real life practical, but you're not going to just walk away without certification. And we're going to get there. But this is the part. If you have more questions about this after now, you can ask me any questions that you have. So let's move on to the next slide. Why should you become, I don't know, can you guys see this annotated? Let me delete. Clear drawings. Awesome. Why should you become a Scrum Master and product owner? This is the real deal. One, high demand and job security. Agile roles are needed across industries worldwide. People might tell you something else. People might tell you, oh, it's oversaturated, it's this and that. This is 2025. And I think a lot of domains will tell you the same thing. They will tell you anything. I worked with people that are engineers, data scientists, cybersecurity, and everybody's just saying the market is not what it used to be in 2025. So if you hear someone telling you, oh, it's oversaturated, no, it's a lie. Because as at yesterday, I saw a company that posted on LinkedIn that they're just starting their agile transformation journey and they're excited about it. What does that mean? That means that they were going to hire agile coaches, they were going to hire Scrum Masters, and they were going to hire product owners. I have seen one organization hired over 50 Scrum Masters before in the past till now, depending on how big they are. So there's high demand for this because this is a skill you're going to acquire and it's not going to go into extinction. Don't think about it as the title of the job. Think about it as the skill that you're acquiring. Even if the title of the job goes, which I don't think so, the skills you've acquired is going to help you, transition into other roles. And this is why we are not just presenting to you to just be a Scrum Master. You have the product owner role, you have the product manager role. Those never goes away. Coaching, it never goes away. People have been coaching since 1980 or whatever, and they are still here today doing the same thing. 2, no coding required. No coding required, and you get to be paid 6 figures. So it doesn't matter if you're doing menial jobs right now. It doesn't matter if you don't have any experience right now. Your first job, I can guarantee you, is going to be 6 figures. Strong any potential. Yes, it's going to be 6. In fact, this is, I decided to pick this from online, which says 90 to 130. But I can tell you boldly that none of my students has earned anything below 100K before. And you have influence and impact. You also have freedom and flexibility. There was a time I had a lot of nurses coming to me, recruiters coming for my trainings. And I was curious, I was like, you are doing this, you're a nurse. I know that you earn a lot too. So tell me why you want to transition. And the number one reason for many of them is the flexibility and the freedom of remote. Right now, many of these roles requires either hybrid roles or fully remote role or even on-site roles. But you have that flexibility where your company might say, come to the office 2 times a week or come to the office 4 times a month. Right. And then you have that flexibility to mix, to choose, which a lot of roles do not have, even though they are getting paid as much as this. But what's the current reality? Excuses. I'm not technical. I know you're not technical. I wasn't technical. I am still not technical, even though some people think I am. You don't need to be technical. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. Is that you? Or it's like it feels impossible. The truth is the opportunities are always there. But most people don't know the roadmap. Most people only go for certification training. Certification training is just what it is. They train you so that at the end of the training, you write certification exam and then you get your certification. That's it. That's what it's all about. And when you do that, you have learned zero on what you need to actually help you land the job. So this is, I've streamlined, the most reasons people talk about into these 3. Either they are new, they never worked in corporate, they're not technical, they don't think they can do it, or they are not sure of how or where to start, or that it feels impossible to land the roles. But here's it. Knowing the why is not enough. Most people fail because they don't know how to position themselves for this role, like I've shared before. Maybe struggle with resumes and interviews, which certifications will never help you with. And they are also not prepared. Like I said, you're not prepared, not just for the 90 days, but for the job. You have to be prepared for the job. And this is where the training comes in. 1, it is a step-by-step roadmap on how you can break into these roles. There are practical tools you're going to learn. You're also going to learn what hiring managers actually look for and the real world examples. Again, real world examples. People struggles mostly when they get to the interview phase and they realize that if you say you have a Scrum certification, you think they will go to Google and ask you who is a product owner when you get to an interview. Nobody's going to ask you that. Nobody's going to ask you what are the responsibilities of a product owner. Nobody's going to ask you that. They're going to ask you your day-to-day activities, the things that you're doing, how you've done it in the past. And certifications would never provide you with all of this information. So before I go into the training schedule, I want to just show you a little bit of our testimonies. So this is Adiza. Adiza was a nursing assistant. And at the time before she signed up, she was working as a nursing assistant and she was earning $15 an hour. And what was funny was because she asked me one particular question and said, Mary, are you sure I can do this? Because after then, I've had some sessions with her and I realized that she had a bachelor's degree in one of, the most prestigious university back in Nigeria. But she has been in the United States and they told her she had to go back to school. So she was still gathering money to maybe go for nursing, but then she had to be working as a nursing assistant. And in few months, she got her first fully remote opportunity, fully remote. She was working from home and she was earning, I think it was 100K that she was earning. This was Adiza. This can also be you. This can also be you. This is also one of my students who, after landing her first job, she decided on her own to buy me a special gift. This is not part of the training money. This is just like an appreciation, and you can say, hello, my amazing coach. Thank you so much for being an inspiration and changing my life. I will be forever grateful you crossed my path. Aww. This is one of the reasons I love and enjoy doing this. When I have like a lot of screenshots I could have shared here, but I don't know. I think for some reasons they're not here. Where people, after paying for your class, paid for your training, they eventually came back again to give you something else on top without you asking for it. This shows, to what length they appreciated what you've done for them. And I'm just sharing this with you because this could be you. This is also one of my students. Her name is Mercy. And, Mercy just joined me. So she has not finished. She just joined me, my class at the time. And without asking, she sent me this note herself. She said, I'm not going to rush and do interviews. I will listen. Because when she met me, she told me she had taken certifications 2 years ago and she has been struggling to land a job. And I asked her, how did you get your certification and all of that? She told me she actually attended multiple trainings. So this is her saying that, and then, when you come for some of our sessions after the training, they are recorded. So this is her saying she's going to listen to all the recordings. You see, she said, I will listen to all the audio, follow you for at least 3 weeks, then I will start. Just within 2 days now, I have really learned a lot. I and my husband was listening to yesterday class, and he agreed that I didn't start with the right person. It's okay though. All things work together for good. Thank God I met you. This stuff are not fabricated. She joined my class, and I think the second day or third day, she decided to send me this herself. And I was touched by it. I was more touched because I know there are so many people that are teaching right now, and it's just unfortunate that, especially if you're not highly priced, some people don't trust you, some people don't want to come to you. And they go ahead, pay this big money to all of these people only for them to come back sometimes with nothing. She's not the only one like this. I have many, many, many of them, both male and female. Now that you've learned and you've seen some of this is also someone else. I met Mary through a friend of mine. I've never regretted knowing this wonderful teacher, mentor, coach. She has one of the most soothing voices I've ever had and will break down agile concepts into several components and repeat them together again. My students can speak English for real. She's ever ready to answer when I need her assistance. Da 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 da. She thoroughly knows her onions and is a passionate agile ambassador. This was also one of my students. Now, these are some of my certifications, just so you know, if I'm telling you to get certifications, it's because I know you need it, but it is not the only thing you need. So this is the mistake most people make. Not like certification is bad, but certification is not the only thing you need. Certification is like 10-15% of what you need, but you do need it just to look good on your resume, right? It's like at a first glance, that's what they see. When you get to interview, that's when you have the chance to actually defend what you have, to showcase who you are. But you first need to look good on paper for the people that are going to call you. So these are some of the certifications I've gotten, not even updated. I've gotten quite a few after this. And you could see that I have quite a safe certification myself. So I have lived safe. I've worked, in enterprise at enterprise level, helping them to scale, and I've seen the benefits. And I realized, for example, I got this PSM1 and it was good, and I got the product owner, certified product owner, and then I got the safe six. No. It was at the time I got, I think it was 2.0 Agile list because we have to upgrade it every year. And when I got this certification, I did not understand one thing. I was asking myself, am I in the right class? Despite the fact that, I've even been working, I realized I jumped. I wasn't supposed to get it at that time. But somebody told me, just go get this. It's going to look on your resume. And that's what a lot of people are telling you. They're telling many of you, just go get this, go get this, go get that. So you get the certifications and you still know nothing. You just acquired everything and you're wondering why you're not landing a job. So now, after sharing all of this, I do want you to know that this training is for you if you are educated, you are in the United States of America or Canada or UK or even Nigeria, and you know that what you are doing is not what you're supposed to be doing. This training is for you if you have different agile certifications, but you still find it hard to get a job. Because in the training, we're going to help open your mindset and also teach you what you need practically to help you. 3, you hear about all of this, but you don't really know what it is. You're about to relocate. This is the time to start learning. I know coaches in Nigeria that lives in Nigeria that charges thousands of dollars for some trainings they do. I know many of them. I follow them. And so this is the time for you to start, even if you're not in any of this country yet. In Nigeria today, there are these roles. What I don't know, I can't say. I know they pay in 6 figures. I know that, of course, they pay in 6 figures every month. But if you're able to relocate, you also have opportunity to get more dollar, right? Because now you're going to get 6 figures, in dollars. So either both ways, wherever you're in Nigeria, Africa, Ghana, wherever you are listening from, this is the time for you to start if you know you have plans to relocate. Because nobody actually told me about this. So when is the next training coming? The next training is coming on Monday, 29th to October 9th. And it is going to be a free live session. It's a free live session. It's not a recorded training. If you want a recorded training, I have another package for that. Just let me know if you want a recorded training. But this one is going to be live. And what do you get? 2 weeks training. Now, let me tell you, if you go anywhere now that you want to take safe certification, safe SSM, I can tell you boldly, and because it's something that I've done a couple of times. Many of the people training would only teach you for 2 days because that's a safe recommendation. 2 days training, and you have to go study for your certification and get your certification. But here you're going to have the two globally recognized certifications, and you are going to be getting trained by me for good 2 weeks. Why? Because I can also do 2 days, rush, 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 and go. I know that the safe materials is not something anyone can divulge in 2 days. When you do it in 2 days, you're treating it as a certification training. So because I've been there and because my trainings would not assume that you know anything, my training assumes you don't know anything. So I take you from zero to that level where you now start feeling confident. The certification training believes you have 5 years of experience in project management, 5 years of experience maybe as as a coder, 5 years of experience working in corporate. They just believe that, and that's why it's more like just a certification. So my training takes you from 0 grand, from knowing nothing, because there are other materials I have to add to it just to ensure you get the bigger picture, you get the basics, right? And then two is that you get the certification, and you don't just get the certification, you get the exam help, right? You get the exam help. There are certain things I cannot share here until you register for the training, but you get support for the exam. I do not write exam for people, so don't think about that, but you get maximum support that is going to help you ace your exam once. Number three is after the training, you get free sessions of mock interviews and coaching. So I tell people use this wisely. You can start using it immediately after your training. You can come back few months or few weeks after your training, but just 5 sessions with me whenever you want to have it, as long as you attended this training with me. And you're going to get as a bonus at the end of the training the step-by-step first 30 days roadmap. That's another package, because we have people who did not train with us, they landed job and they did not know what to do. But here you're going to learn what to do in the first 30 days, at your new job. You're also going to get access to live interview recordings from real life interviews. You cannot get this anywhere. You cannot get this anywhere. Again, certain things I may not be able to share here. And you have the bonus access to our community of practice. So we have a community of practice of working Scrum Masters and product owners and RTEs and Agile coaches, and we meet every 2 weeks. And you are going to get access to this community. We meet every 2 weeks. You can ask me any question. You will learn from other industry experts, and we have this continuously. It doesn't stop. So these are some of the things that I can remember you're going to get for learning and doing the training with us. Now, if we have to look at the packages, the live training itself, the 2 weeks I'm giving you, the special bonus, the repository of interview questions and answers. After hearing all of this, you might be feeling like, let me just wait it out. I'm going to do it next month. I'm going to do it next year. Well, the longer you wait, someone was telling me the other day that because she decided to wait a few more years, the truth is 3 years before now is not the same as it is now. And so we don't know what 3 years from now is going to look at. So I know that the longer you wait, sometimes the harder it becomes. Now, the total value would have been $7,000, but if you enroll today, just because you are on this call, I am going to be giving you an option of paying just $1,200. Just $1,200. Between now and Monday for the next 48 hours. This price goes back to $1,500 in 48 hours. And that's it, because it's so little compared to what you're going to get. The 5 sessions of mock interviews one-on-one sessions alone is almost 1,500 if I'm going to do that for anyone outside the training. And the community, the materials, it's just so much you are getting for this amount. And I tell people, when you get your first paycheck, just the first 2 weeks paycheck, you actually even forget, the amount you paid. The good thing is we have payment plan. You can decide to pay through in 6 months, in 3 months, in whatever is convenient for you. We do have all of that readily available. These are more testimonials, right, of people landing their jobs after training. Of course, they had to do their own part, but just to show you that this is not fluff, this is actually working. So, in case you're still wondering why should we register with you? Like I said earlier, beginners friendly trainings. Nobody cares about you like we do. We don't just care about the money. We're not just trying to take money from you. We care about your success. Many of my students tell me, Mary, you're too nice. And sometimes I don't know even if it's a compliment because they feel like, we give too much passion and energy. You have to be serious, even if you don't want to be. And there has been proven results that this is working. We go extra mile to see you succeed. We are very affordable. Like I said, you're getting those 2 certifications for cheap. And remember, you're not getting certification. I could do this training without giving those certifications, and the amount would be the same. Because for the certifications, it's not free. I am going to pay them to give you the certification, but I'm a licensed trainer. So I could do this and ask you to go get the certification elsewhere. So we're very affordable in case you're in, and we're going to give our time to ensure you have the very best. Like I said, these are things you don't really get. Let me tell you, if you can see, I've taken a couple of certifications myself. Until today, I do not belong to any of those group after certification. In fact, when I took my SPC certification, I paid $4,000 for that training. I think maybe about 3,500 for that training. And the trainer said, just feel free to reach out after the training and all of that. And I reach out a couple of times through an email. Nothing. And that's not new. That's just they have to jump to the next training, right? So you would not get mentorship anywhere if you go elsewhere to do this. Nobody does practice simulations and all of you when you're getting safe certifications. They don't have time to do mock interviews for you. No, they don't have community help. They don't have exam help. They're not taking you from zero. I know this. I am even not trying to sell right now. I know this. And this is the reason I do what I do, because I have seen this gap that it doesn't really help anyone to take 2-3 day certifications and actually be able to say they know what it is that they've been taught. So I see it as a gap. And because of how passionate I am about your success, we are bringing in all of this. And the icing is the certification. The icing on the cake is also the fact that you are getting those 2 certifications. Let me tell you what it means. It means that you walk out of the training with 2 career roles. You know how to be a product owner. You know how to be a Scrum Master. We've not done anything like this before. In the past, when we do Scrum Master training alone, sometimes the price is even the same. But now the world is changing, and as the company, we have to evolve with it. And again, you don't think about yourself, you think about the people that are coming through you. So this is everything today. Thank you for coming. I think, we spent exactly 1 hour plus. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate. I can see all of you. This is where I am going to pause for questions. If anybody have questions, if you have subscribed to the email, we're going to be sending out the link for payments. But if you want to pay right now, let me know. Let me share that link. because after right now, it actually goes back, like I said, to the original payment. Okay. So I'm just going to drop this in the chat. If you're listening and you want to pay, let me know if it's working for you. And I'm just going to be waiting right here in the back end to see how many people are willing to take this rare opportunity, because this is a rare opportunity. All right, if there are no questions, I want to say thank you so much for spending your evening with me today. Thank you. I appreciate. I know it's late for some people. I can say there are, a couple of people that are not here in America. It should be around like very late in the evening for you guys. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in the training. Thank you. Bye.